And we are back from our short break, rather a long break, but the way you put it, challengers, right now the wait is over and it's going to be worth it because right now we will be moving on to the finals of our Valor Cup. My name is Volga, with me is Rico, your shoutcasters, entering the best of 5 series of Clutch Guild versus, what was the first win of the first match?
Clutch Guild versus WIL NE Era.
So WIL NE Era from the game between Samurai Gamers coming from our match 2. So I gotta hand it to WIL NE Era. What a way to hold out on game 1 and in game 2 bounce back.
Yeah, it was a 2-0 and I feel like Clutch Guild is gonna be very happy knowing the fact that they're gonna be facing WIL NE Era kasi nga madalas daw sila mag-scrim, madalas sila mag-practice with together, and I feel like it's one of those things na finally yung mga scrims nila totoo na to. It's gonna be for the finals match pa. And kung sino yung mananalo dito will represent the Philippines at the Valiant Server Finals.
And we all know that from our first set of matches, the 2 matches itself, it just goes to show all the practice of the scrims, yung mga preparation ng teams natin papuntang finals has been worth it. But right now, Rico, we will only have one winner. And who do you think it's gonna be?
It's a very tough prediction. Pero, want to reiterate na in-interview natin yung 16 teams from the mga top 16 teams from the Philippine Premier League na tournament, and they all kept saying that Clutch Guild is very scary, and talagang they set up this bar in terms of who is the best team in the Philippines tong Clutch Guild. Ang scary ng reputation nila, but at the same time malaki yung kutob ko din that WIL NE Era can put up a good fight, as again Clutch Guild is not the type of team that scrims with anyone ni basta-basta. Parang mapili sila kung sino yung ka-scrim nila. And knowing the fact that WIL NE Era has taken a few games on scrims against Clutch Guild is something to be, worry about for Clutch Guild.
Maybe that small insight they have during their scrim could actually help the, let's say, for WIL NE Era to try and face against CG Clutch Guild, where in fact, the community has been saying it too, and also from our talks and interviews, that they are the teams that establish a standard, the bar for our competitive Arena of Valor.
Exactly, and that's why I'm very excited kasi scrims yun eh. Iba yung pressure coming into a tournament, and especially they're experiencing it land. Nandito sila ngayon sa studio, so they will see each other. They've been probably mingling during the break and stuff like that. And it's one of those things na parang I cannot wait to find out mamaya as we start our game number 1 later. It's gonna be a best of 5 series. And natanong ko nga kanina si yung captain ni WIL NE Era that most of their scrims are best of 3s, not best of 5. So itong mental fortitude ng mga teams matetest talaga dito sa BO5.
And we all know during the best of 5 series, your strategy, your endurance, and your stamina will all be tested here, because we all know that a good start does not always mean a good finish.
Exactly. Kasi nga, Clutch Guild, kanina, they obviously had miscoms, gaya na based sa interview kanina na during their drafting, nagkakamali sila. Same din sa WIL NE Era in terms of like game number 1. It wasn't a very strong start for them, but they managed to scale well into the late game. Kaya natalo nila yung Samurai Gamers. They got the momentum, won that second game. So, I feel like it's, just as you mentioned, one of the test to their stamina, their strategy, but at the same time, sino yung team na hindi magtitilt during the first game?
And as we all know, for Clutch Guild and WIL NE Era, they do favor the Zenial and Alice combo that we saw for WIL NE Era dun sa match 2 ng game 2 natin, dun sa semifinals. And right now, I'm pretty curious, the priority for to pick that comp or maybe try to get some parts of it will be very crucial in the drafting.
Yun nga yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. Zenial and Alice and Chognar was picked during Game 3 against Bren Esports and worked out so well in a dominating fashion. But at the same time, we interviewed Gambit kanina. Sabi nila, may mga na-prepare na kaming pick. So it's more about either countering or outdrafting Clutch Guild. Yun yung game plan nila, and staying positive is what they mentioned earlier. But it's all up to execution. I mean, you may have the right idea for drafting, pero what if you crumble and fall during the actual game?
It doesn't matter which tools you have in your, let's say, arsenal. If you use a hammer to screw a screw, and what's not gonna work. So it all comes down to how you use your tools, how you use your strategy, and execution. That is very important when you're talking about yung best of 5 series. Why do you keep talking about the best of 5 series? Kasi that is so crucial. It's not yung one game lang tapos na. No. as the game progresses, the enemy can pick up, oh, they're good at this, they're bad at that.
Yes.
Picking up the disadvantage they have, or let's say the pros and cons, can really help shape up a pro team and the player's growth.
Yeah, and there's a lot of room for error and experimentation when it comes to game number ones in a best of 5 series. So in comparison to best of 3s where it's so crucial, dapat game 1 you get the formula agad, or else you'll just lose that momentum for your own squad. But looks like we're gonna see the schedule. Akala ko papunta na tayo sa game natin.
Mamaya pa yan kasi we need to at least see what rather a recap of what happened, because everything happened so fast. So
Yes.
for the viewers or for the challengers who are just tuning to us right now, note that dun sa match 1 and 2 for match 1, Brent Esports versus Clutch Guild ended with a 1-2. Whereas Brent Esports, they did pick up, let's say, a momentum coming in from one of their games, but in the end, CG with it was the game-changing Alice and Xeno combo that we saw in Clutch Guild, and the same thing we saw dun sa WIL NE Era and Samurai Gamers.
Exactly. And just to give you guys a little insight, para sa mga hindi nakakaalam dun sa team ng WIL NE Era, it's actually a branch of a team from WIL Gaming, as you can see dun sa logo nila. So isa silang community, yung mga WIL, maraming classic teams yan, but looks like WIL NE Era has the WIL team that qualified for our Valor Cup. And it's a community of gamers basically, and I feel like they scrim a lot together and stuff like that, and it's a very nice what do you call this, idea to think about, na parang they're just this community that forms small branches of teams, but eventually they're just gonna be encouraging each other within the community.
That's very true. It's more that's one thing I like about yun sa community natin. In a way, we also saw some teams actually forming teams just because they kept running to each other in, let's say, yung mga pub games or so ranked games. That's one thing that you can really at least have some connection with the players. And now, that's the result we're seeing right here dun sa mga players natin and teams making it this far dun sa Valor Cup natin in the finals.
Yes, actually asked WIL NE Era kung ano yung qualifier runs nila for Valor Cup, and sabi nila smooth naman yung performance nila, hindi pa sila natatalo. So basically lahat ng top 4 teams natin in Valor Cup never lost a game, except siguro for today technically within the series, which is Clutch Guild against Brent Esports kanina. But we'll have to see how that's gonna pan out, kasi I've never seen WIL NE Era and Clutch Guild go against each other in other tournaments yet. So this is going to be a little bit of preview for our matchup nitong mga scrims nila usually behind the scenes.
I think this will be more of a treat for all of us because we're seeing, as for WIL NE Era and Clutch Guild, as we said, they haven't fought yet dun sa previous stages natin, no?
Yes.
Not yet. This will be the first time. And what a way to fight against an enemy team for the first time. Better than the finals right now.
Yeah, exactly. And just a fun fact about WIL NE Era, some of their members are juggling family and school and work and stuff like that. So that's something interesting to point out, na parang they have a lot in their mind. And I'm pretty sure Clutch Guild as well, some of them are most likely students then. So balancing pro play and other responsibilities is definitely a tough situation to be at, but again, they're pursuing their passion, and you can tell how they're really, really wanting to win and represent the Philippines.
This is the one thing that the players learn while, let's say, having to play in one of the Arena Valor's competitive game, the Valor Cup. Juggling responsibilities is one of the morals you can learn in our league right now, and the players, I think they took home something very priceless, not just for the winning team right now entering the finals, but for a shout out to Brent Esports and Samurai Gamers for making it this far. Being called a top 4 teams in the Philippines is not a title that you should be ashamed of. It should be something you should be proud of. And in the end, next time, maybe they can aim something higher.
Exactly. I know they've been putting a lot of work, lahat ng teams na nakapasok sa, top 16, top 4 pa nga dito sa Valor Cup. And they regularly scrim not only within the Philippines, but also teams from, Singapore, Malaysia. So talagang hinahanda na nila yung sarili nila sa SCA or rather Valiant Server Finals na magaganap dito sa Philippines. So do make sure and watch out for the dates and additional details on that one. Pero it's gonna be an exciting match for sure. But of course, before that, we need to know kung sino yung ating magiging representative for the Philippines. But just to remind everybody, it's gonna be 4 teams at the Valiant Server Finals and 1 wild card. So gaya ng sinabi kanina, it's gonna be the second seeds, second placers pala rather, maglalaban-laban within the Valiant server to determine sino yung wild card.
And as for our challengers out there na abang sa mga codes, here are the skin codes that you can get for your heroes. And this is again a first come, first serve basis. It's really difficult to try and get, let's see, because everyone wants the skin, everyone wants the codes themselves, and that's why it's a bit difficult. As you can encounter some problems in the end, maybe you were not too quick to the draw, but still, it's not yet going to be the last codes we'll be showing. We still have a best of 5. So, kung gusto nyo mas madaming codes, hope for 5 games maybe.
2, tas yun na.
And that's how you can get more codes in the end.
Exactly. But well, I mean, ikaw, Hebam, tinanong mo ako kung sino yung panalo, pero parang hindi ko yata sinagot. Very safe answer.
Very safe answer because when you're talking about yung mga best teams natin, we all know that especially CG, a lot of hype in the community. But for WIL New Era, they used to be New Era in their old team, but now WIL Gaming, as you said, has been picking them up, having more resources also, and having scrims with CG. You know that when you're entering the finals, when you're entering something as high stakes at this match and fighting for the first time, it's still anyone's game. I mean, I'm trying to take a guess here, but I would have to pick yung playstyle ni CG because from what I saw in the semifinals, the fact that it's a game 1 hiccup and also the game 2 transition and now to game 3, we're seeing that quick adaptability that you want to look out for in pro play.
Yun nga, curious ako I mean, gusto ko rin sabihin na it might be WIL New Era na surprising win kasi a lot of people have been hyping up Clutch Guild. I understand na people would think that Clutch Guild is gonna win, but again, they've been scrimming a lot together, and in-interview natin si Gambit and tinanong natin, kamusta naman yung scrims nyo? And ang sabi niya, talo most of the time, pero nananalo naman ng 2-1 and stuff like that. So, statistics-wise, it's not looking good, but at the same time, iba yung environment naman dito.
And now, I think the wait is over, challengers. We'll be now moving on to our first game, the finals of the Valor Cup, right here, right now, live on our Facebook page. Share and root for your favorite team. This will be Clutch Guild on the blue side versus WIL New Era on the red side.
CG talaga, they will not let go of this Seniel, knowing the fact that they really like the Seniel Alice, pairing it with a marksman. And right off the bat, first rotation rather, ng WIL New Era, we are gonna take that away from you. This opens up Shognar if they are willing to get that for themselves as a secondary protection, as this comp has been working out for them.
And we're now seeing that Shognar being hovered by CG, and now they'll be taking out the Joker away from WIL New Era. So we're seeing the Zephys and the Alice, a combo we always see all the time, and normally you would see Zephys paired up with the Malak. I'm curious, can I see the Lubu? Yes! I see the Lubu being hovered there by WIL New Era. This is my favorite pair in a way because very hard engaged, and not just that, it actually makes it worth to give up the Xenial for the Alice here for WIL New Era.
Exactly, and it works out well in terms of combo. Like everybody just drops from above, get the knock up and everything. So much control. So for WIL New Era, either they get the Violet for themselves to secure that backline damage, plus good scaling pagdating sa late game para sure na sure sila mamaya if ever they do lose the early game. Kriknak naman, not a surprising pick from Clutch Guild, but definitely a very... Okay, so Jinnar instead. So I feel like they have to make this work through the early phases of the game. Ganun sila ka-confident si WIL New Era. Because in terms of scaling, not particularly a fan in comparison sa binuo ng Clutch Guild, but it just means that they have a plan in mind through the early phase to the mid game.
The way I see it for CG, and I totally agree with you, Rico, that when it comes to scaling, CG really has to protect and wait for this Joker to pop up in the late game. But as we all say to our challengers out there watching the Valor Cup, everything comes to execution. And now this is going to be the start. This is going to be the start of the finals natin, mga challengers. So looking at the cup, we're seeing the Joker again being picked up by CG, but they'll go for WIL New Era. They can go for very aggressive early level dives with the Malak, Lupo. Not just that, yung Zephys and Alice paired up so well.
Exactly. I can imagine that Will New Era will be taking advantage of their level 4 spikes, most especially. But in the meantime, Clutch Guild has everything covered in terms of protection and late game 5v5 team fights as well. So I'm really curious how they're going to execute this, and Will New Era with so much confidence with the comp that they just formed.
And this is execution being shown here. We are now live on the battlefield for Game 1. This is going to be a best of 5 series against challengers. This is the finals of the Valor Cup.
So excited. I literally have no idea who's going to win, as Clutch Guild has set the bar really high at this point. But meanwhile, Clutch Guild has also, you know, has given the same hype to Will New Era. So parang this Game 1 is gonna set that ground kung ano ba yung standards natin dito.
And now for the challengers watching right now, you can see in the map a lot of movements from the side lanes in the riverside. We're seeing that for CG and Will New Era, we're seeing a very identical movement, but onto the side of the Abyssal Dragon, we're seeing Alice and Joker. Duking out here gets the slow, but nothing will connect. Already at this early game, at this early minutes, we're seeing aggression from both sides.
Exactly, but they're, in comparison to the previous games, they're not as aggressive as before in terms of level 1, okay, we're gonna steal buffs and exchange buffs most likely. It was a very safe and reserved type of play style. Maybe they're just feeling the waters, maybe they're not confident enough, maybe because they don't have the right amount of CC in comparison to Will New Era, whereas level 1, Alice has a really good dependable stun with a wide AoE, so it's easier to land, and I think that's the main reason why they're not as aggressive as the previous matches we witnessed from Clutch Guild.
And we saw kanina dun sa, what's this, the side of the buff, they were trying to steal the resources of Will New Era with the Lumber and the Joker. A lot of movements, again, aggression to deny as much resources as they can. Looks like we'll be seeing the Sponsored and CG already having priority here. The Abyssal Dragon has spawned, and now they will be the ones to start things off. Right off the bat, we're seeing Malak trying to buy some time with the Jungler from the sides. Getting picked up. He just did not expect three members waiting on that side. That would be the Joker getting the slow. But in the end, that is going to be Clutch Guild trading that off for the first Abyssal Dragon.
And that was a very good trade from Clutch Guild. A kill for an Abyssal Dragon. That's a very nicely done execution for Clutch Guild, just to secure that Abyssal Dragon, no potential steals whatsoever. And now because of their spikes of gold, they know that they can take this, as that's Miggy, very low.
And that's the spike they were looking for, and now they are the ones trying to control the flow of the game. Maybe too early, but they will still try to establish some dominance here. That's going to be the ultimate, knocking up two members to the air. Lubo very low with the red Stalin, trying to get away. Was the final lockup, connecting there onto the Zenyo.
Wow, over-aggression by Clutch Guild. I feel like they got baited so hard with a lot of low health targets on the side of Will New Era, but take note, there's the Alice for the shields and the mobility, so it's a really greedy play from Clutch Guild.
And in the end, for Will New Era, they did a good job. Great job, actually, to try and bait them in. Really, you gotta watch out for yung sa Alice, yung shields are something that for CG has to take account for before you go all in with their dives.
And what we see here right now is that nagiging bot lane yung top lane. Kasi we see Malok and Shognar being very stable at this point. Lubu and the Senyal are the ones making the rounds. But it's actually understandable kasi wala yung Dragon doon, so it's fine. But at the same time, which means that Sentinel is the hot, juicy target at this point. Kasi wala na silang ibang makitang hotspot or kumbagang objective na pwedeng i-take. Black is just lingering around, being a ward at this point, but will bump into Gambit.
But that's going to be the Nirvana used by the Jinna to deal so much AoE damage. That's going to be the Malak coming in with a knock-off there, but in the end, that's going to be, oh, look at that Clutch Guild getting shredded there, but that's the heal. Jungnar is here for the protection. They may go for the tower dive, but Lubu punishing Grekna gets the hit from the tower. Malak now finally goes in here with the two-man stun onto the members of CG. That's going to be Zen diving in and out again.
That was slightly awkward for the side of Will New Era, mainly because Malok had to walk like half the map and decided not to split push instead for a fight that's already over. So So that was quite an awkward call for Will New Era. Could have gotten so much better for them, but in the end, I feel like maybe they wanted to take a pick on some of the low health targets. But at the same time, it was definitely a numbers disadvantage of what happened there at Clutch Guild's engage.
Yeah, and for Joker trying to steal the Sage Ball here, goes in onto the Zephyrs for that double CC lockdown. He's low, trying to get away with his slip. Now onto the Joker, forced him to flicker away with the last hit. That's the Joker securing the kill. Malak repositioning him, trying to take down the Joker, but that's going to be Clutch Kill not having it. They won't let the Joker die. That would be 2 members trading things out for only 1 for CG's side with Will New Era.
These are the fights that I kinda wonder where they already at a numbers disadvantage. You already lost 2 members, but I still see the Lubu walking down, deciding not to continue with the push. Most of the times, when you see a fight already lost, you split push somewhere so that you know that you can at least get a consolation prize after. Because by the time you get there, the fight's already over. I feel like that time wasn't as maximized again. And like from the bot lane earlier, Malak didn't split push. Lubu wasn't able to maybe get some chip damage on the tower. It really counts. Instead, they'll get the Sentinel at this point, but mid lane is super low, and one fight would just mean the destruction of that mid tower.
And it's very difficult for Will New Era when it comes to, let's say, split push, because they're kind of conflicted between 2 things. Should I go for the fight? Should I go for the split push? But for Clutch Guild, they can do both. Why? Because they have the Zenial for the quick response with the heal and the reduction. And I think that's what Clutch Guild has an advantage over Will New Era from the drafting phase.
Exactly. They really put high priority on the Zenial pick, but it's not... I feel like it's not yet worthy to be... I feel like Will New Era doesn't see it as a ban. They decided to work around this with the Alice pick, get that rotation in with a 3-man rotation, but at the same time, it was Clutch Guild that keeps outnumbering them whenever they try to secure a invade on either the Might buff or the Sage buff, and it's just hard to keep up with. And at this point, might as well try to take advantage of them investing 5 people in one area.
Yeah, and they're really investing a lot in the mid lane. Zephyrs trying to go in with a 2-man knocker, immediately gets punished by Clutch Kill under the tower. He survives for now. Now the fight for Will New Era will start with the Malak engaging in, and with Lumber. Great 3-man knocker, but can they win the fight here? Can they go for the cleanup? Yes, they can. They have the Signal, they have the Joker, they have the maximum range on that Joker, but in the end, he gets picked up there with a skill shot. In the end, the trade-off is equal, 3-3.
At this point, it's gonna be very scary as the game progresses, because the Joker is just gonna get more scarier.
And close call again for Zenial. That Alice is very annoying when it comes to the CC lockdown and the shield. You can easily get baited there.
Exactly, but I guess the mindset of the Zenial was, okay, she's running out of mana, might as well try to bait something. I know XDD shields are very painful once it explodes, but at the same time, you can tell how XDD is putting so much pressure on the mid lane, because that's the only tower that's about to fall down. Plus, once they get mid control, that just gives a lot of space for them for the Abyssal Dragon, or later in the game, more on the Dark Slayer pressure as well. And at this point, Joker has some distance. There's it. There it goes.
And there's slow and nothing. Yeah, nothing will connect to the Zephyrs here with the mobility. So, as you said, Rico, that's what Clutch Guild is actually doing. After taking down that mid lane outer tower, they are going for the Abyssal Dragon with the Joker being singled out here. Lubu trying to go in for the knockup there. In the end, forced to go back to his team. And now it's going to be Will New Era trying to fight back here. They have the Alice, they have the CC and the shield, but the Joker is free to hit, forcing this Lubu to back off.
This is their huge problem. If they cannot eliminate the Joker, it's just gonna be slow damage for them. You have the Jinner, okay, you have the Lubu, okay, Zephys as well, but that's just gonna be easily bursted down once they enter the fight. Joker's gonna be in a safe spot. It's hard to actually bring him down if you don't burst him down as soon as you get the CC locked in, and that is why you have the Chognar for that lineup, just to make sure that's safe.
Ooh, the instincts could be the instincts kicking in for this Lubu. Muntik na yung Joker. Very close call, really.
Sobra. Confident siya na hindi siya papalaga ni Will New Era here on the Lubu. But it's fine. At this point though, at least Will New Era is keeping up with the gold lead. One thing I'm worried about is lang talaga, because CG, you can never see them na mag-isa, yung isang member. They're always clumped up whenever they try to engage. So in terms of singling out a person, it's very tricky, especially kung ang target mo si Joker. There's the Lumber, there's the Chognar, Senial as well. Sobrang hirap niyang hulihin.
And so far, the summary of our game, our timer is near the 11-minute mark, but in the end, it's still anyone's game. We were seeing a lot of trade-offs.
Yeah.
In the size of both teams.
And so far, Clutch Guild has been winning all these fights and objectives. But at the same time, even though nangyayari yon, gold lead, I think 2K gold lead lang yung Clutch Guild at this point. It's not very significant. But I want to reiterate na parang ang wino-worry ko lang is yung comp. Lalakas si Joker. Mas mahirap siyang abutin. Zephys is gonna be very squishy siguro at the end game. Unless, I guess, lahat sila siguro mag-Ancestral Glory, then mamaya may sneaky play. But comp-wise siguro, it's enough for me para sa Clutch Guild na i-protect yung Joker. Kaya yun lang yung talagang muna worry ko for Will New Era.
And that's why they prioritized or actually really valued the Zenial pick. Because when it comes to being clumped together and moving, that really helps them with the AoE heal and the shield, or rather the shield and the damage reduction onto the Joker. So they're really trying to protect him. And in the end, you saw yung mga damages ng Joker, and I think the challengers were kind of surprised what ridiculous damage this Joker has skating right now into the game.
Yeah. I mean, maganda yung game plan nila. Lahat sila magda-dive nga. They are capable of diving. They have the Zephys, they have the Malok and everything. But ang problema siguro is how they're gonna finish off the target. Kasi they have the right idea, pero ang problema, hindi nila natatapos si Joker. And I feel like that's one of the winning conditions for them to, kasi ang style nila, get a kill towards objectives. Hindi yung let's out-rotate them. Parang hindi ganun yung playstyle ni Will New Era, pansin ko. Maybe it's because Clutch Guild keeps on pressing on with their lead. They keep invading the jungle. Hindi sila hinahayaan mag-rotate and make the plays. And that's why, Clutch Guild is one of the strongest teams in the Philippines.
And that's how we saw the way they started the game. The early advantages, trying to take away the resources of Will New Era. It just goes to show how much proactive they are, but for CG, they're trying to do the same thing. I think it was the Sage side. Yes, the blue side of
Will New
Era for CG.
Yeah, I mean, hindi pa nga nagsaspawn yung Abyssal Dragon, nag-aabang na sila, and they had to make sure, okay, Crick knocks level 4, okay, I can probably do this. Most of the time, they play around the spikes of the level 4, especially sa jungler. Zephys was already level 4 as well. Pero, nauna na sila sa position, they had a lot of zoning tools. They really know what to do here for Clutch Guild.
And looks like we're back to our battlefield to resume our game 1 of the finals. Right off the bat, we're seeing 4 members of CG closing the gaps. Wound the tower. That's going to be Malak. Buy some time. Wound the knock up there. And Zephys trying to go back into the fight. Immediately gets punished. What a beautiful 4-man knockup. Plus the Zenial, the Lumber, and the Zenial making it work here in the bot lane. Woo! What a fight that's happening here. Lubo trying to clean up the fight, but in the end, forced to back up. That Joker with the mobility, with a speed boost, is just too slippery for Will New Era. The tower is still standing. Last hit, it's down. The tower's down, and so is Will New Era. 3 members down for the count, while CG Clutch Guild suffers no casualties.
Again, this is the 3rd time where they decide to send the Lubu from top lane to bot lane. What a long walk instead of split pushing. They could have traded an objective for a lost fight. I feel like that would have minimized their losses instead of losing a couple of more members. So I feel like they're the type of team that really wants to fight that.
Despite having let's say this top lane, yes, I mean sending a little bit there, the tower is rather low. But as for Will New Era trying to challenge the team fighting comp of CG, because they felt like they could go and make it work with the Alice and the Malak. But the fact that Zenial offers so much sustain in a team fight and response really, you'll expect that Lubu will not match the respawn coming from the Zenial.
Exactly, and at this point of the game, the timers on the ults are very short, so they can immediately move from one map to another, but Sentinel buff already being secured at this point.
Ooh, and a check to the brush onto the choke point. That is very thin, that's very tight, and that's going to be WIL NE trying to start a fight. They get that knockup. They are pincering Clutch Kill and cleaning them up one by one. Chongner going in for the assistance here, but at this point we're only seeing the Zenial and the Chongner trying to buy some time for the team with the Malak and the Alice, the shield and the stun. That maybe signal the Dark Slayer if they take down this Chongner. The Chaos Protection was used and he did get a lot of heal there. Now we are seeing WIL NE starting the Dark Slayer. Malak trying to zone out the Chongner, does not want to risk anything.
That is exactly the winning conditions of WIL NE. Get the Joker, try to outnumber them, because at this point, that was the Chongnar having to walk from bot lane towards the riverside, and they maximized and punished Clutch Guild so well for being confident enough to win a 4v5 matchup. They were the ones that started the fight. They got caught out, and by the time Chongner was there, it was too late, and they came at the right time as well. Dark Slayer was around, so it was very quick for them to transition to another objective after winning the fight.
What a comeback for WIL NE. The gold lane, you can see it right here. It's not really anything because we're not seeing a huge difference, because after that clash, after getting the Dark Slayer, that is more than enough for WIL NE to try and come back into this game, but that is going to be CG taking away the 4th Abyssal Dragon.
They should start a fight. Chongnar is split pushing again. This is their win condition. Chongnar will be forced to back if they don't first someone down.
That is over the wall here with a knockup and the Malak responding in, zoning at the Joker and the Alice. We're seeing Zenial from the heavens with the heal and the Chaos Protection with that Chongnar. He's still healthy, zoning at the Jinna, but the focus right now is to Gambit. Low on health, Zephys and Alice coming in for the assistance. That's Zephys going in for the knockup there. Chongnar going back away with the speed boost and the immunity. That will be Lubuk from the bot going to the mid lane for the respawns. Might as well stick to the split pushing here. And now we're seeing WIL NE backing off from that fight.
That was an opportunity to get the Joker, but LYL's positioning, he was hidden in a brush. They spot out the Chongnar instead, so they invested so much skills and auto attacks on their Chongnar instead. And I feel like they could have won that. They weren't able to take advantage of the Dark Slayer buff. It was more like a takeaway now. Instead of maximizing the Dark Slayer's use, it was their chance.
It was their chance to really try to come back and take back the lead that CG took in the early phases of the game. But still, I think the fact that they got 4 members and the red side was more than enough for them to get back in terms of gold value. But yes, what a shame that was with the Dark Slayer. Now, the timer is nearing our 16-minute mark here. What's gonna happen for CG? Because for WIL NE, they have to be very careful with the Joker. And now, they weren't careful here. Get it picked up here. Another 3-man knock by the Lumber here. Going in with the Chaos Protection with a Chongnar going in for the fight here. Zenial with a knock up there. And that's going to be the members of WIL NE focusing onto the Joker. Zephys trying to zone it out here. They don't have damage. Malak gets the shield. Zenial not letting it escape with his own knockup.
Oh man, these are painful tanks at the end of the game. You do get LYL, but at what cost? The rest of your members are dead. Waves are shoved in favor of Clutch Guild. And at this point, it's just basically a cleanup squad. And CG is free to take whatever they want in the jungle, in the river, get that Abyssal Dragon. So at this point, Miggy just tried to do his own mission.
Oh, Zenial coming in with a heal and to the dive under the tower. That will be Zephys gone, and that is actually the ace. Ooh, what a game with CG. And now we only see this Alice coming back live right now. 2 seconds left on Gambit. I don't think that will be enough time. This is going to be CG taking away our first game, getting the momentum on their side.
Clutch Guild did amazing again in this game number 1. They know what to do. Their draft was perfect for them. It worked out so well. Okay, you take the Alice, that's fine. We're gonna take the Chongnar instead. We're gonna pair it with with a marksman that's going to be reliable from early, mid to late game. Again, the only thing that I could probably pick on was the decision making in terms of will I split push or will I join the fight, and of course the lack of, because WIL NE Era is a team that knows how to play from behind. They did it so well against Samurai Gamers during the second semifinal series, and knowing that you don't have someone to fall back on during the later phases of the game is something that is not necessarily what I think is one of their strengths. So yeah, they really believed in the early game for themselves.
And this is our battle stats, a summary of our game 1. And after the style of WIL NE Era, yes, I do agree that they have the tendency to, they have the knowledge and adaptability to adjust to their disadvantage. And we did see a small hope for them to come back to our game 1, but in the end for CG, the early lead was just too much, letting the Joker scale too fast. In the end, they focused too much on the Joker and forgot that at this point, Zaniel also deals a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it was a very close game. There were times where I thought WIL NE Era could have potentially turned it around when they got the Dark Slayer. When the Chognar was split pushing, it was a 4v5 situation. Chognar arrived too late. They got the Dark Slayer. Chognar again spotted split pushing at the top, but they weren't able to get the priority targets before Chognar arrived. It became a 5v5 still. They backed away and didn't take advantage of the Dark Slayer buff.
And in the end, they wasted that, or rather, they didn't use the opportunity properly.
Yes.
They have failed to use the resources given to them. But in the end, if you look at our points so far, it will be CG taking away 1 point. And now, challengers, don't go away just yet. We'll be going into a short break, resuming our best of 5 series. This is me, Vulcan, and with me is Riku. We'll be signing off and moving on to game 2 after the short break. And we are back after the short break here. You are watching the finals of the Valor Cup. My name is Vulcan. With me is Riku. Your shotcasters entering our game 2 of the best of 5 series.
Yeah, earlier we saw Clutch Guild not really exactly dominate the whole game. There was a chance for WIL New Era to get back into that match, but unfortunately it was too late, and they were able to take advantage of certain situations that would put them even more, give them more chances to get back to the game.
They did have a slight chance there. That small hope was the Dark Slayer that they got after the 4-man cleanup they had on their red side. But after that, it kind of settled down. They could not engage because for CG, they were doing their best to buy some time. And now, onto the drafting phase.
Exactly, and we were talking about it off stream. Is it worth banning the Sentinel now? And I feel like, okay, it's worth banning the Sentinel, but that would mean Murad's gonna be open. And is it gonna be picked up by CG or WIL New Era? What are their priorities here? Would they wanna settle with the Malok pick? Because Malok is not banned anymore. But instead, they wanna secure LYL's painful Joker.
And we all know how this Joker performed into the late game. Also a very, very slippery target, but for CG. Oh, in the end, know that the Violet and the Lubu will be the pick for CG. This is scary. What can WIL New Era pick to trade that off here? But it will be a switch. I won't be surprised if WIL New Era may try and take away the Lubu, because Lubu and Malok paired together is a deadly combo.
Definitely, but Murad is open for the taking, and Lubu as well. I feel like Zephys will appear in a later rotation. Maybe CG is gonna take that for themselves, but we saw the performance of Murad earlier between Samurai Gamers and WIL New Era, and it did pretty well. But at the same time, Clutch Guild is securing the proper supports or the proper front line, and again, landing this Irie for themselves will really secure their split push potential, especially during the later phase of the game. Plus, a huge threat to Joker, as Irie is one of the considered strong picks against marksmen in the backline.
And not just that, at least they know that the Irie has been picked. What else can we do than try and have Arthur and Ormar to protect this Joker? And in the end, I think what for CG is trying to do is to match the late game of the Joker with the Violet, but I think we'll be seeing the Ally Story, if I'm not mistaken, picked up for the Clutch Guild.
I've seen so many Alistair picks against Murad, and it was during the Philippine Pro Gaming League 2 weekends ago, where they picked the Alistair. I feel like it's not even Clutch Guild that picked that, but it seems like a trend whenever Murad would appear on the opposition, and it's understandable. Murad goes in, you get that lockdown, and he wouldn't be able to. He would probably be just trapped. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why, Ben or, Clutch Guild would pick the Alistair. And most likely as well, if you catch the Joker, then that's something that they could take away as well. Especially that there's no Chognar that's going to be removing any of the hard CCs.
And we all know that for this Alistair with Ben, he is picking up the flicker, so you gotta be careful. You can flicker it and just lock you down with the zone. You cannot move anywhere. And especially the Murad. I think this is going to be a very interesting game. A lot of strategy is being shown in the drafting, but everything comes into execution once you're in the battlefield. This is our second game of the finals of the Valor Cup.
Exactly. I'm kind of wondering if Clutch Guild is going to be more aggressive, as they do have the Irie. They have a good 1-4 man squad here, as the Irie might potentially steal a buff away from the Arthur as he's guarding that spot. Maybe he's going to guard. But at this point, top side of the map is being pressured, and we'll see. What's
happening here? Looks at the Murad and the members of CG and WIL New Era. They will go for an early level 1 brawl. Malok gets a huge chunk of damage there with a slow, but in the end, it will only be Violet at critical health, forced to back off.
Alistair has already soaked a little bit of experience in farm there, as he stayed in lane instead of Joker. trying to get to the lane as well. But in the meantime, it's going to be an Irie Arthur matchup and Malok Lubu. Very classic. At least, you know, it's not another Xennial Irie matchup again in the top side of the map. It's different this time.
Because when you see the Xennial matchup, you just have to step back and look at the other lanes without the Xennial. Because when you look at the other lanes, you're gonna definitely see a Xennial popping up out of nowhere.
Exactly, and I feel like XGG
Careful.
with the steal on the camp rather. So Irie playing really well, trying to slowly get resources away from WIL NE era.
Oh, but Arthur will go in to try and punish for that. But in the end, taking away resource is more important than harassment, and that's what Irie went for. And I think when it comes to the mid lane, it's going to be very, very tricky for Gavin on this Joker, because we're seeing the Alice and the Ally Star being one of the key picks to really shut down this Joker.
Alistair has a really good wave clear, but at this point you see Abyssal Dragon already being started. We'll see how WIL NE era is going to adjust to this as they're being zoned away really well.
Oh, look at Alistair zoning out Arthur. That's going to be the Abyssal Dragon going down so early. There's the stun from the Alistair, and Mura trying to get away here. Gets caught off by the Irie. Oh my god, that's going to be WIL NE era trying to back away here from CG. But know that Arthur is here. Irie, very low in health. Will he get taken out? That should be the first cooldown off for the ground. Oh, close call there. But the Alistair again with the stun and the zone. What a close call for CG. Getting out of that fight so clean, no casualties, plus the Abyssal Dragon.
Exactly, that was a greedy engage from WIL NE era after knowing the fact that they've lost a couple of members already. They really wanted to kill the Irie, but again, XDD very slippery on this hero, and at this point they've gotten everything that they needed during the early phases of the game, and that was really well played. It was just difficult. Again, you have to consider, without the Xennial, that would mean a lot of situations where you're as a 4-man squad and you leave the top laners at the top for a long period of time.
Look at the lockdown again, coming from Ben with his ally star. In the end, trapping this Lubu, getting the Spirit Sentinel. What a great start you would want entering the second game of the Best of 5 series.
I am definitely a huge fan. There's always that one time where you have to choose either Irie or... Hold on, not...
Level 4 has just been happening for the Omar. There's the ultimate, a guaranteed stun plus the turbulence for a secure on XDD. That's going to be a kill for WIL NE era. But right now, top lane is being heavily pushed in by the 3 members of Clutch Guild.
That was an exchange, a tower versus a Sage buff and a kill.
And a knockout there in the mid lane to really go onto this Ormar. Getting the heal. Joker in the sidelines, dealing some damage. Amura trying to get away with the turbulence to deal at least a lot of damage before he goes pop off. But in the end, that's going to be 3 members gone and just obliterated in the mid lane.
Amazing punish by WIL NE era. Obviously spotted the rotation of the Alice and the rest of the members coming from CG, but that's Abyssal Dragon already started.
Contest happening here, but let's see. Alice coming in with a shield, stun, nothing happened. His pit has been placed down, but that's not going to happen here because we're seeing a great trade-off in the end. Gets the Abyssal Dragon. Wow.
Well played by WIL NE era, knowing their timers, knowing that, not timers, the timing rather, and with Irie being super low, wasn't able to, I think the punish was actually on cooldown at that time, so no Swaggity punish steals. That's going to happen because I think most of them that were invested on that Abyssal Dragon didn't have punish online as well. So great counter rotations from WIL NE era at this point.
You see the Malak with a damage and the steal onto the camp. Looks like we're seeing Clutch Guild all over the map here, having a lot of priority on their lanes, taking, I think they can set up for this Sentinel if they wish to take it, but right now the focus should be maybe the bot lane, but for CG, open up the mid lane. Oh, Alistair again with the lockdown. He does manage to get away. Goes in Malik for the knock up here. Rubik's very low, trying to back off with the Ormar ultimate. In the end, guessing it out. There's the turbulence. All the focus is onto Alice. Lubu gets stunned there, but Alistair with the zone, with the stun, trying to do something, trying to control the fight. Looks like Lubu backing away from the Ari and the Malik. Malik will be the one to take down the Ari.
Oh, wow. Actually, well played to WIL NE Era there, but they've already lost their resources. A lot of people are already low at that point. And Miggy was able to temporal turbulence, I think 3 times, as he just kept on hitting that jungle camp, that wolf by the mid lane. And that was really well played, except for the fact that they weren't able to finish off crucial targets on the opposition. So it didn't work out pretty well on their side. But again, gold lead is still not significantly high, but it's still in favor of Clutch Guild. So still well played for both of these teams for making it still close. Their scaling is still pretty good, but if I look at their kit in terms of punish, Clutch Guild has a lot of potential as they have that lockdown from Alistair plus really immense damage on their side.
I gotta hand it to Mura with the mobility already going on to black. So close call for the Alice, and now that's going to be the Joker going on to what ridiculous damage coming in from the Joker. Immediately deletes Ben. So far, that's going to be 1 member down for the count. Looks like Clutch Guild trying to push back WIL NE Era.
Exactly, and as you look at the bot side of the map, Irie not able to try and...
Oh, what's this? Focused on to Violet again! This Joker is just popping up in this game here. That's going to be the Malik going in for the engage back inside the mid lane with the help of Alice with the shield and the stun. But in the end, WIL NE Era suffers no casualties.
Wow. This Murad, Miggy is doing so well on this Murad, bursting down the correct targets. They really want to get that Alistair or the Violet, and it's working out it's working wonders for them. But at the same time, you have to question yourself, in what exchange our mid lane is slowly getting choked down. Ormar spots this rotation.
Oh, over the wall. Look at the lockdown. Very close call again for WIL NE Era. I gotta say, this game is getting intense. Knowing that there's no Zenial, they don't have the safety line. So I think for the teams, they're being a bit more aggressive because knowing that walang Zenial sa laro nito, they can go all out without, suffering any punishment for their overcommitment.
Exactly, but they still have to... WIL NE Era still has to balance out their waves every time. Kasi napapansin ko, pag nag-commit sila sa fight, panalo nga sila sa laban, pero yung Tore naman nila, may damage.
And that's going to be the stun onto Orma. He cannot escape that lockdown. I gotta say, it's going to be a huge obstacle for WIL NE Era. Oh man, and now not just that from the mid lane. Now we're seeing the top lane being pushed in heavily. And now Lubu trying to push out the waves in the bot lane, but sees the 3 members of Clutch Guild are on hot on their tail. Now they're responding in for the flank here. That's going to be his fit to set the kill for Malik. And an assist for Alistair. And well, look at that, Violet just getting the trade-off there onto, oh my god, everything. Everywhere we look at Riku, we're seeing back and forth. We're seeing pickups coming from Clutch Guild. They are trying to shut them down and zoning them out again. Malik goes in for the dive with a knock-off, setting it up for Alistair again for that kill. And they took down the tier 3 turret.
Man, this is what we've been mentioning. And tower after tower, Clutch Guild's composition is the type that manages to punish anyone that would try to go near and start something. If you don't have that follow-up, normally you want to have Alice on your side so that once you go in, you can movement speed towards the location and join your team. But at the same time, but then they don't, and they have to suffer from that isolation being offered by the Alistair on Clutch Guild side. So it's very tough if Mura doesn't do his job to eliminate the crucial targets like the Violet, like the Alistair. They should keep repeating what they're doing, and at this point, that's the Alice super low.
Oh, the heal and the slow. Will the Alice go down? No. Manages to escape thanks to the Malik's response, forcing Arthur to not give chase. And now it'll be Malik giving chase to this Arthur, but we're looking at the map so far. Objectives are free to grab, especially the Abyssal Dragon. But looks like Another close call for Violet. And another close call for Namiran. And overcommitment there. Low on health. Malik gets a very easy kill over the wall. That's going to be Ari going in with a stun. Malik with a knockup. Not happening there. And the zone is being established by CG, zoning out two members, but Clutch Guild and WIL NE Era, they're doing the same thing.
So many invested resources just to kill the Violet, only to find out that you cannot kill the Violet. And at this point, there's a lot of wave shoving in their favor, in Clutch Guild's favor rather.
Okay, we're seeing the waves being pushed in by CG. Now this will be the second tier 3 being taken down. Now the core is exposed. What will WIL NE Era do to try and defend their base? They go in hard. They go in with the armor, but look at the sidelines. Look at the backline. The Violet doing the damage and the stun being locked by the Alice. The shield, the zone, the slow, everything working in the favor for Clutch Guild. WIL NE Era, they cannot do anything. They'll be forced to give things up here and give up the core in game 2.
GGWP, game number 2 goes to Clutch Guild with an amazing performance once again from the draft, knowing what to do to punish any aggression from the side of WIL NE Era, and it worked out in their favor. Even though they were losing a couple of mid-game fights, it didn't matter because the waves are always shoved in their favor, and they always manage to get chip damage on the tower, if not even destroying them.
And that has been the result of our second game. This is why we've been talking about CG. The strong team entering our Valor Cup, one of the teams who set the bar there and showing their skills and their players' talents, mechanics there in the game. We saw it in our second game. Now the question is for WIL NE Era. Right now we are on match point. Note that this is the best of 5 series. Whoever takes 3 points first wins the best of 5 series. So this is going to be match point. Can WIL NE Era shade things off here?
It's really tough because you do ban the Sennial, but that's something most likely you're not going to be familiar to be up against with, because based on the previous tournaments we've witnessed against in Clutch Guild, they always play this Sennial Alice combo most of the time, or just the Sennial. It's a whole different dynamic because again, you can split push and then you can make it a 4v5 and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's really problematic that the Mirror is open. Okay, you take it, it's a very strong pick, but then they counter pick it with something that could potentially punish you if you go in too deep. And Miggy did phenomenal in this game, but at the same time, it was just heavily countered and it was easier to play around with in comparison to, I don't know, the Irie.
Oh, what a game it was, Rico, but for the challengers out there, I think we need to go onto a short break to give some time for our teams to try and figure out what they've done wrong, strategize here too. But in the end, it's going to be another game where we will see how Clutch Guild, with a great momentum coming in from game 2.
Yes, and I heard there's no break, so it looks like we can continue. But I'm really liking the fact that that WIL NE Era has definitely adjusted. They can fight at par mechanically or micro-wise in terms of team fights and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's they really have to work their wave management and everything. And objective trading is very important. They got the gold lead already intact. They always manage to keep it very close despite getting losses from team fights. But again, objective trading like Abyssal Dragon, or may it be towers, or maybe it's sentinels and stuff like that, super duper important. And I have a feeling they will, make the right adjustments in the third game.
They have to, because this is going to be match point for the team here, and not just that, the chances for the spot of moving on to our VPL, the grand finals, where we do see the other regions competing for to know who's the best team in the whole international scene in our Southeast Asia
region. Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines are involved in the Valiant server, and again, 4 teams will be at the grand finals. Again, this is a tournament to select who will represent the Philippines. I'm really excited to find out. It's gonna be a very, very tough match for Will New Era as they've taken 2 losses already. But still, there's a huge improvement from game number 2, and I feel like, maybe they can take one more game out of Clutch Guild.
This is actually difficult because when you're talking about a best of 5 series, there's a lot of things that can go on to your mind. Not just that, also how will you strategize? How will you try and come back from your defeats? Because momentum is definitely on the side of Clutch Guild.
Yeah, and it's so hard to play around with their draft or try to ban out like a Senial or something. But yeah, we'll have to find out later.
We'll be coming back here, so we'll be signing off for now. My name is Vulcan. With me was Rico. Your shotcasters for the finals. After the short break, we'll continue on to our third game, match point. And we are back on to our finals. This is going to be very interesting because at this point in our third game, this is match point.
Exactly. I don't know why you're giggling, but
Because it's actually intense, because if you look at the games 1 and 2, it has been rather intense in a way that's from game 1, much slow pace. But game 2, we're seeing a ramp up in intensity. But now game 3, I wonder what happened. I wonder what's going to happen for WIL NE Era. Has the flames died out for them, or will they continue to push back against CG?
yeah, based from our interview, they were the type of team na parang, okay, let's just keep staying positive, not tilt, give it our best every time. And we saw that, especially in game number 2. Medyo close siya in terms of team fight. But again, it's Arena Valor is a very objective-heavy game. And most of the time, it was Clutch Guild that managed to take away everything. But here we go. It's the draft.
This is our third game of our Best of 5 series challengers, and the bans already out are the Violet being removed by CG. WIL NE Era, will they let the Zenial be banned? No, it's up and up for grabs.
Okay, Zenial, of course, no questions asked. So this is a choice whether they get the Chognar or the Alice, or they get both, and sacrifice the potential loss of securing either a Zephys, a Malok, or maybe the Joker for their side. But looks like, they're going to just choose the Chognar instead.
They would rather go for the Chognar and the Zephys being locked in by WIL NE Era. This opens the Malok and the Lubicom, which goes heavily well with Zenial. But in the end, why give up the Alice?
Exactly. And maybe they're a little bit reserved. Like, it's okay that if you're gonna lock in terms of second rotation for the enemy side to get the Alice, it's fine. But we've seen this Cricknack pick from Clutch Guild on the previous tournaments, and with Thane as well. So they're very confident. It's one of those comfort compositions. Again, it's kind of hard to outdraft because there are several compositions that I think that still work well with CG. We still haven't seen their Tell Honest Lindis composition, which we've seen before. And it feels like they didn't have to fall back to that sort of play style, and they're still going to stick with the Zenial since it's open.
This could be a trap. Wait, why is no one picking up the Alice just yet? Because we're seeing a lot of picks that makes the Alice very difficult to survive. Look at that. We're seeing them Lumber, the Joker, and now Telanas and the Jenna being locked in by CG.
Yes, they've played this Telanas before on other tournaments, and looks like it might be WIL NE Era probably locking in a double marksman composition, which is not wrong. It's more like it's very, what do you call this? Very interesting how they're going to fall back to this, as probably they want more damage on their side, and maybe Lumber and Chognar will be enough in terms of frontline peel.
It can also depend on the Zephys, because this hero is actually very flexible. Can go for the damage-oriented build or go for the tanky build. Still works both ways. So for WIL NE Era, at least they have something to fall back if things go really bad in their side. But for CG, the Zenial has been the highest priority pick here so far in the finals. They will be definitely picking that up.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see what the game plan is for WIL NE Era. Obviously, when it comes to these 5v5 team fights, or maybe a 1-4, it's going to be interesting because they're not going to lack damage at all. They do have the mobility. They can actually try to exit out the fight if they think that it's a little bit too risky. Jinnar could potentially, what do you call this, not be able to stick to your face, as long as there's no CC being landed on the squishy targets on WIL NE Era. Then they could just create some sort of distance and let Chognar do the zoning.
And right now, challengers, we are live in the battlefield. This is our third game, the best of 5 series in the Valor Cup finals. If WIL NE Era does not push back this game or does not take away 1 point, this will be the end for their run for the final spot, and will Clutch Guild. They will be the ones to represent the Philippines.
Exactly. WIL NE Era hanging in a thread here, as I feel like their composition is definitely more of a reactive comp, where we saw how very, what do you call this, aggressive in terms of objective taking Clutch Guild has always been for the past series, even the ones against Brent Esports. So I kind of imagine that's the playstyle they're gonna go through, as they are good in terms of a micro, in terms of their team fight, and it's just a matter of repairing their objective trading and wave management. I think that's one thing that to point out during the second game rather.
And one thing to point out very interesting for our challengers is the chest of goodies code that has been popped up on your screen. Note that again, medyo mahirapan yan kasi it's a first come first serve basis. Whoever wins the goodies, congratulations to you. Quick on the draw.
Yes, sirree. So just prepare your clients, or rather your phones, on Arena of Valor.
Yeah.
Well, it's still a technical client. But anyway, going back to the game, we see that Rubik's will never leave Chugger's side. But at this point, you can see how much of a lane bully Tel-Anas is, especially on her first skill. And it's really... Joker has to really withstand this lane, as Tel-Anas is going to be dominating during the first few minutes.
Has to wait it out because this Joker will scale to the late game, and right now Tel-Anas will be the ones to hinder his growth. But in the top lane side, seeing that Zenial very close to death. What a pickup from WIL New Era. Across the map, top and mid suffers casualties on both sides.
First blood goes to Clutch Guild. On the other hand, Abyssal Dragon. So the question is, who was the best pick-off at this point? So top lane getting picked off, but bot lane was the one that received the loss, or rather your roam. And that would really put Abyssal Dragon less pressure for Clutch Guild, so they definitely won that one.
Definitely, after that Tel-Anas really pressuring this Joker, they got the priority there, and in the end it was very easy for them to take down the Abyssal Dragon.
Indeed, worked out pretty well on their favor. Level 4 already onto LYL in comparison.
What is this? Again, this Joker really cannot deal with this Tel-Anas at early levels and gets the stun under his own tower. Forced to back off.
Can they collapse though? That's the question.
Team will go in. Oh, great reactive flicker from this Tel-Anas.
Wow, not being able to punish the aggression coming from the bot side of the map, Tel-Anas there. But meanwhile, another rotation will come at the top side of the map. I think the timing was a little bit off, knowing the fact that, you know, Zephys is at the, Slims is at the top side of the map, meaning less people for the Abyssal Dragon earlier. So I feel like the pick was okay. At least it mitigates a little bit of resource trading there, but still at the end of the stick, Clutch Guild managed to win that one. 41 seconds till the Abyssal Dragon again, so a lot of pressure is being put on towards the bottom lane turret.
A lot of pressure because they want to take down at least the second Abyssal Dragon to set things up here. But we're seeing, oh look at that, CG with the priorities, and this Joker really having a difficult time dealing in the laning phase.
Exactly, and I feel like maybe they want to invest their resources on towards the Zephys.
Oh, this is gutsy of CG going for the steal there. Zen comes in with the ultimate to zone out Slims. In the end, we're seeing this Jinna with the Nirvana zoning out two members of WIL New Era. Looks like CG gain again the priority here for the Abyssal Dragon. Just take it away.
That is fine. At this point, WIL New Era has managed to get the steal on the Abyssal Dragon.
What a call there by the Joker. Oh! Go on.
Punish was not online. I feel like it was used
God,
earlier
right?
for the Sage buff, but they got the best deal out of that equation because Zephys was stuck in the top lane, split pushing. They got the Abyssal Dragon. They didn't give any kills during that invade there in their Sage buff. So it worked out pretty well. Okay, Tel-Anas manages to get a turret there, but that's them mitigating their losses from what happened. And wow, amazing.
Happened so at a blink of an eye. All your effort has been taken away by that steal, and great from WIL New Era to fight back. This is again match point. You can see that the nerves of the players settling in our competitive scene here in the Valor Cup. And so far we're seeing Clutch Guild unfazed by that steal. Still, it's okay. We did have control in the early, but WIL New Era bouncing back here with a slight lead in gold. They are still in the money for winning this game 3.
Yeah, managing to scare away the Senial at least, putting the Joker up top and rotating the Zephys at bottom just so that they make sure that they can try to split push and maximize their resources. But at the same time, they lose another Sage buff on their side as a lot of resources are quite scattered for WIL NE era. But at the same time, they're pushing towards this mid lane.
Yeah, and we're seeing this. Oh, look at the Jinna dealing so much AoE damage. That's going to be the Zenial coming in, but Lumber disengaging with that 3-man knockoff.
Good job from WIL NE era. It seems that they've gotten the perfect formula for themselves. Which is try to disengage if we know that it might be a little bit too risky. But again, CG has a very siege-heavy composition with the Teleonis on their side. So they just have to strong-arm their way through in terms of getting their towers. They don't need to get a kill as long as they manage to chip them down really well to respect how much of a bully Teleonis is when they do the siege.
And the pickup is there from CG onto the Zephys. Oh, gets the heal, dashes away, but that's going to be the Kirknack chasing him down there. And the Lombard with the CC lockdown will secure that kill.
Oh, that was really great.
Very close call, but the fight's not yet over. They call in reinforcements. Zenial and Jinna is here to try and take down this Lombard, but the Abyssal Dragon is just trying to say hello to them. But we're seeing it right now in the top side, pushing strong on the lanes.
Oh, these two marksmen are doing their job at this point. Fast push, you know what? They've got the Teleonis for the siege, but at the same time, they've combined forces, these two marksmen. I wonder if Clutch Skill will be able to punish this Joker at this point.
But look at that. Already for WIL NE era, they know that all the members are forced to respawn in the top side. So why not take away the Abyssal Dragon?
You gotta love how WIL NE era is moving right now. They're really forcing Clutch Guild to run all over the map, even though they're not gonna be taking anything from it. It's always too late. They cannot punish at this point. And I mean, it's all really understandable. Try to separate them as much as they can because Teleonis, very low mobility in comparison to the rest of the marksmen on the hero pool of of WIL NE era at this point, and that's why CG is forced to always move as a squad, always forced to move in force. If not, then they will not be able to win a fight, as it's really really tough, as there's a lot of CCs involved and a lot of damage that could burst out the squishy targets from Clutch Guild.
And when it comes to those squishy targets, you know that for Clutch Guild, they need to protect the Teleonis, because if ever WIL NE era gets to engage on or at least the lockdown with the Lumber plus the Zephys to really quickly close the gap, that would be trouble for Clutch Guild. But knowing how they're moving around the map, they will be the one to try and pick up the Zephys, trying to deny that engage, going for that lockdown.
Interesting call here. Dark Slayer, again, two marksmen. This is going to get chipped down very, very fast. Once they come in, WIL NE era will decide whether to go back. Of course, they have to go back. It is potentially a 4v5 situation.
Oh, but they're going on to the Joker. That is a mix CC. Look at Jinna with the Nirvana diving the tower. That's going to be Thane backing up. But Teleonis again is here to give some extra boosted damage. Look at the ridiculous damage from the Teleonis. But the Joker finally gets that payback.
Oh no, they were so greedy. Clutch Guild wanted the kill, knowing the fact that it's a 4v5 situation. XTD will try to escape, but at this point, Dark Slayer already on the side of WIL NE era, and there is the Kriknak already actually being at the bot side of the map, trying to split push and mitigate their losses. But again, Dark Slayer, what can you do?
Could this be the start for WIL NE era's momentum bouncing back from the best of 5 series? It will be their turning point. What will CG do? They are so close to getting that championship, being the winner of our finals. But now it looks like WIL NE era shake things up here. They will be the ones to pushing them back.
Again, composition-wise, late game, WIL NE era wins this. They have double marksmen. They have really good frontline Lumber, Lumber, and the Chognar. And meanwhile, you see a couple of marksmen, or rather damage dealers on the side of Clutch Guild that fall off in the late game, and eventually they don't necessarily... I mean, Kriknak is not necessarily like a Murid or an Irie, but at this point, CG...
No, this is going to be another... Will he go down there? Oh, that's actually The ultimate not gonna fully channel, so the Zenial will be picked off by WIL New Era. One member down for the count. Looks like WIL New Era will be the ones to push in the top lane, but Telanas will not let that happen. Slim's getting picked off here, very low on health. That's going to be the engage, coming in with a lumbar here to disengage with the knockout. Telanas is low on health, gets the poke, gets the stun, and the Joker will finish him off. WIL New Era bouncing back in this game.
Wow, 4v5, they still win that with a lot of members already super low on Clutch Guild. And with that said, that's even Papa J. Papa J, man! He's split pushing in the bot lane earlier. That was the best situation for WIL New Era. These are the underdogs in the matchup, and they're playing so well at this game.
So far, the Joker is not anymore scared to try and deal with the Telanas. The Slums and the Joker really, they know that for actually WIL New Era, they know that they cannot go in recklessly to dive onto CG. So why not just poke them from the distance?
We'll see though, that's two members being invested on Papa J here on the Zephys, but looks like they're gonna respect the fact that they're getting shoved from different lanes all at the same time, and they're doing so well here. WIL New Era has gotten a very significant amount of gold lead, map control. They could either play it safe, wait for another Dark Slayer, or keep chipping them down, try to make a pick with the Slims, and it just synergizes so well.
God. Not just that the pickups, yes, it does give them a lot of advantage when it comes to sieging and trying to deny the defense coming from CG. What's this? Oh, that's so close. The Jinna with the orbs doing a lot of damage, bouncing back here. This will be a very crucial moment for WIL New Era and CG. If they're not careful, things can turn around quickly with Xenos leading the charge here, followed by Thane. Oh, that's going to be the lockdown. Jungnar trying to break free, and the Joker, they have eliminated the Telanas. What's going to happen to CG? No more damage. They will be just cleaned up here. My God, this is not yet over. The Jinna going in with a Nirvana. Can he do something here? Can he try and deal the damage that the Telanas could? But in the end, the members of Clutch Guild cannot do anything. They get aced.
Wow. Everything worked out in their favor. And take note, it was CG that banned out the Violet and forced to get the Joker and the Slims, and they fell back into a Telanas composition instead, which they thought that would work, but WIL New Era played it so well around Clutch Guild. That's a 2-1.
You know what this means? This can be the start of the potential reverse sweep for WIL New Era. Congratulations to WIL New Era for winning the third game. Possibly they can go for the reverse sweep and making the dreams for them still alive, and the fans out there rooting for WIL New Era. I think they're very happy here with the results.
Exactly. They played so well, and they managed to put it on a huge lead where CG will not be able to go back or come back from the game. Aside from their composition not working well into the late game, it's definitely more of WIL New Era denying what would make this Telanas composition work. It's actually brilliant to watch this game, and as you can see, Joker being the MVP, you saw how explosive the damage is on toward the Telanas, and the synergy between Miggy and Vance with the stun and with the skill shots from the Joker is just very nice to look at.
And a really nice comeback for WIL New Era. This will be the start, maybe for them, or in the end for, let's say, for CG. They're still sitting at match points, so in the end, one more win for CG, they'll still win the whole overall series. But for WIL New Era, really trying their best to come back to this game. Now, I think we'll be moving on to Game 4. What a game that was, and this is me, Vulcan. With me was Riku. We'll be coming back after the short break to resume the best of 5 series. And we are back of the Best of 5 series for the Valor Cup Finals. My name is Vulcan, with me is Rico, your shoutcasters, entering our fourth game of the Best of 5 series, where, I gotta say, for WIL NE Era, what a comeback they had in our third game.
Yeah, they really worked out so well, especially how they managed to deny that sort of tell honest composition that they just drafted and just really focus on the objectives. They managed to split push really well. They got the Abyssal Dragon and managed to punish a lot of over-aggressive plays coming from Clutch Guild, and that really contributed to how they managed to stay at the late game and really snowball from there.
Definitely, because when you're talking about, again, for the Best of 5 series, it's all about adaptability. And the fact that for WIL NE Era, this could be the start. They know what they did in Game 3. Can they use it moving on to Game 4? Because this is a start for them to try and take away the series for themselves. But for Clutch Guild, they know their mistakes, quick to fix it. Can they at least make sure that WIL NE Era's dreams get shut down, because they also want that championship?
Yeah, I mean, it was more of another thing where Clutch Guild was very confident in their early game, knowing that they can execute with the Tel-Anas, taking down towers, as long as they can bully out the people with the lane that they're going to be focusing on. But it seems that WIL NE Era knew what to do. They kept separating the squad of Clutch Guild so that they're forced to just try to rotate as well, and it seems that we'll see what they're gonna ban out this time. Earlier it was the Violet and the Myriad being banned, but at this point, what are your priorities?
Let's see, for WIL NE Era, the fact that if despite the Zenio always being available, they do tend to take it away. So what will be their last ban for CG? Would it be the Joker or not?
Earlier they banned the Violet, and they also banned the Malok. But they're taking their time here, but it's the Lulu instead.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. What is WIL NE Era prioritizing? Note that the Zenial is up for grabs here.
Are they going to lock it down? No. Looks like Chognar worked out so well in their favor. If they have the Chognar, maybe they're going to opt for another backline marksman, either the Joker or the Violet. But this opens up at least maybe Alice, Zephys, Violet. You could prioritize those. Maybe the Sennial. They love the Sennial.
And despite the fact that the Sennial and the Violet being taken away by CG, know that the Jungler can still be a threat to, despite having an Alice with the CC, you can easily cleanse it away with your skills. But right now, look at those picks. They would be the ones to challenge the Violet in the late game with the Joker. And after that, they may use the Zephys to more harder engages.
I wonder what they're going to pick, though, for their second rotation. Irie is one of the biggest threats when it comes to marksman threats. If you want to try to eliminate, especially during the later phases of the game, Irie does a really good job. But at the same time, you already have that split pressure on your side. But I guess it depends. Alice, okay, looks like they're going to opt for the Irie. And they really want this because it really secures some sort of... Okay, execution is that left. We can probably try to eliminate this Joker later on.
Oh, I love the Fennec and the Joker combo because they complement each other so well. Early game is on Fennec's side to buy time for the Joker to scale to the late game. So for WIL NE Era, we'll cover the two areas of the game from the early to the late. But for CG, again, the Jhin for powerful team fight, at least they have the Violet and the Irie moving into the late game.
Don't repair what's not broken, but this is a different dynamic for Clutch Guild. This is not a Tel-Anas comp, definitely. This is something that will really scale to the late game and has the ability to deny any of the carries from the Fennec to the Joker. But because WIL NE Era really played so well with the double marksman composition, with two of the tanky supports, Chognar and the Lumber being your front line, it just really is not it's not puzzling for them to just fall back into this composition that worked really well in their favor earlier.
And now I think for the challengers, we'll be now moving on to our fourth game. Note that this is still match point for CG. They cannot afford to lose this game if they want to take away the series right now. But for WIL NE Era, they have to treat every game right now as it was their last. And it will be their last if they don't shape up into this game 4. But seeing how the game 3 panned out, I'm pretty confident. Maybe the players are in high spirits. Maybe they can carry that spirit into this fourth game.
Yeah, I guess it's a matter of, I think Senil will go top, perhaps, yeah, most likely, so that when they all reach level 4, they can make it to a 4v5, most definitely get that Abyssal Dragon on their side. But that's CG, again, with the same plan in mind. Objective is the name of the game in Arena of Valor, and we'll see how it's going to pan out. Again, WIL NE Era still has to win one more game to stay in this series.
And note to that, to the challengers watching, this will be the finals of our Valor Cup, and we will determine our representative moving into Valiant to Cup.
Yes.
For international scene, where we will determine who has the strongest team in the region.
Exactly. So it's going to be a Zephys versus Senil matchup here, which is pretty good. Good, what do you call this, split push potential as well on the Zephys. Can immediately try to escape whenever, you know, people try to collapse. As well as a good clear as well. But
close call there, but a Joker just spot out the Irie. But in the end, I wonder what's going to happen, because we're seeing the double marksman in the bot lane maybe just to roam things out. Things are looking pretty intense in the bot lane. We're seeing 3 movements coming from WIL NE Era, but that will be Airy back off. And here is the code for the chest of goodies.
Yes, sir. So,
First come,
paunahan.
first serve. Yes, paunahan.
Paunahan ng laban, but only 30 seconds left for the Abyssal Dragon to spawn, and we'll see what kind of adjustments they're going to do, as WIL NE Era has been very aggressive, trying to find picks here and there just to make sure that once, you know, the Abyssal Dragon spawns, they're going to have a good position, as they're going to be starting first in terms of arriving first. But meanwhile, we see a rotation from Clutch Guild, opting for the Sentinel instead.
That's too risky, because they did not see that the jungler was waiting in the brush undetected, and that may be, yes, it will be a reset of the Sentinel. And we know that paunahan, diba, dun sa code ng goodies, but also for WIL NE Era, paunahan sa Abyssal Dragon. They did get the, they did get the priority. So in the end, that would actually be a very easy pickup in objectives.
You can see the mind games between the two, and it was actually pretty clever for WIL NE Era to be that, you know, human ward at the brush, spotting it out. I think the mindset of Clutch Guild there, maybe we could take a cheeky little, sneaky little Sentinel before we head on over to the Abyssal Dragon, but quick to the trigger for NE Era, not allowing any sort of control or deny on towards that objective. Again, this is a very safe early game we've seen so far in comparison to the rest of the matches.
And so far, I would say, as the game goes on, that safety will be removed as we get that first blood, because that's an icebreaker for the teams itself. They can quickly, a sigh of relief, because the pressure's done there, so they have to just deal with it. Right now, they will try not to give any advantage in kills. It's all about the objective game here.
Beautiful rotations from WIL NE Era. Everything is freezed in the middle for their wave. So the moment that they manage to eliminate a tower, and that's where they can immediately go back and shove the waves in their favor again and get that reset. So it's basically Clutch Guild not being able to respond to the correct play there and rotate bot, and they weren't able to get any resources back. So that, even the steal!
Oh my god, this kind of takes me back in our third game where the Joker was able to steal the Abyssal Dragon. But right now, another steal done by the Joker, but in the opposite team. So I wonder what's gonna happen for WIL NE Era, because actually no, WIL NE Era's Joker stole that Abyssal Dragon kanina. So right now, I'm seeing a shape-up for WIL NE Era coming into this fourth game. May just force the fifth game here if CG, they're not careful.
Yeah, this is pretty close based from the first few minutes of the match. Abyssal Dragon still no pressure at all, as they're trying to maybe get a pick before an objective. But the draft WIL NE Era created is just very flexible. You can transform it into a siege comp just as earlier, because you do have the zoning tools coming from the Hurricane of the Fennec and just chip down some damage. But at this point, 611, very low.
Oh, and also for the Zephys and the Zenial fight in the top lane. No kill will happen here. All of the teams right now, they're looking at, the other players are looking at that Abyssal Dragon. Very tempted to take away, but they cannot risk anything here. What's this? Interesting. Note that for Clutch Kill, they're in the area to contest this. They'll go for the contest. Will they go for the takedown? No! Will New Era takes down the second Abyssal Dragon, calls in some help. Sentinel is here, trying to take down some members. The stun will not happen, but Shugnar will be making it alive. For now, in the end, only the Joker was the casualty, but at least they took down the Abyssal Dragon. They are taking down the top lane tower.
Okay, 1 kill versus a tower and an Abyssal Dragon, which was already the second Abyssal Dragon. They took the first one. I feel like that's a very good trade for WIL NE Era. Clutch Guild rather, doing a pretty good job at countering one of the aggressive rotations from WIL NE Era at this point. But again, it still doesn't repair the fact that top lane's getting shoved in favor of WIL NE Era. So that's, in the long run, that's going to be a problem, as it's one of the avenues to create pressure around the map, especially during the mid phases of the game.
That's one of the ways that WIL NE Era can battle this Zenial respawn. Go for the split push, and that worked really well for WIL NE Era. Got so much value out of that. And for now, looks like they will be happy with the trade-off there. But for CG, they're not happy with it. They're trying to push this top lane outer tower for themselves, but will be difficult. They have to invest more here. Trying to go in with a knockup will not connect, but at least Alice was managed to land the stun. In the end, it's Zephys being very, very careful.
Exactly. With 2 lanes already pushed on the side of Clutch Guild, it's just giving them so much giving WIL NE Era so much map control at this point. So they are free to move whatever they want. Nice Hurricane there, but let's see if it's going to be enough. They just wanted to see if they can make a pick. Looks like no, but that's an ult gun for a couple of seconds before the Abyssal Dragon's about to spawn. So they do have that advantage. Zephys has the option to walk back now or continue with the pressure on towards that Zenial.
Look at that, Rico. We're seeing more, again, the mind games of CG and WIL NE Era. The Abyssal Dragon is live right now, challengers, and we're seeing the movements going on around it. Interesting, because we're seeing the Spike Clutch Kill picking up 1 kill. They don't have any towers. They don't have any Abyssal Dragons. This is WIL NE Era with an advantage here, but they will not have it. They're trying to set things up for themselves with the Jinna in the middle, trying to deal damage. In the end, gets chalked down slowly by the members of WIL NE Era. Chuknar will be the one to pick up that kill. 1 member down for the count. Looks like WIL NE Era. They're poised to take down this outer tower, perhaps? Maybe not.
We'll have to see as Benz is getting eliminated by nicely done attempt there by XDD.
So far, looks like WIL NE Era trying their best to bounce back here. This could be a potential reverse sweep. And I wonder the nerves of Clutch Kill. What are they feeling right now? I mean, great start, yes, but can they finish it? Oh, the joke of Zephys with Zenial. Those calls there going in are hot, so that's going to be Zenial just backing away. But in the end, Rico, we talked about the momentum moving on to this best of 5 series. What can it do to the players? Momentum, and not just that, their stamina and endurance. The grueling games will get to them.
Yeah, such a huge boost for WIL NE Era, knowing the fact that they probably found that kryptonite for Clutch Guild. So far, Black might walk into a trap.
Oh god, they're making a small mistakes, and WIL NE Era taking a lot of advantage over their missteps here. The Lombard trying to make some work here with a disengage, but that's going to be CG trading things up here with the Jinna on their red side, with the Zephys going in for the dive, but the Zenial at the middle of the fight still rather healthy, can go for the re-engage to the Joker, will chase him down hard, but that's going to be the Ari singling out the Lombard. Meanwhile on the blue side, the Joker gets a speed boost over the wall, Zenial gets a slight slow, and that's going to be another kill for CG.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. WIL NE Era, even though they managed to catch out Black unguarded, it was still a very awkward position for them to be in. I feel like the Joker wasn't able to respond right away, as he had to walk from the riverside towards that Sentinel area, and I feel like that's one of the mistake that happened, and Violet already dealt so much damage. Irie, again, we have to consider the Irie being a very huge problem, especially during the later phases of the game. It's, for me, based from all the games that I've witnessed from the tournaments, Irie is the #1 headache for marksmen squishies like the Fennec and the Joker even. So it's a matter of how well they're going to protect all these carries.
It's a matter for WIL NE Era with the momentum from Game 3, really trying their best to secure this game before that Airy can actually pop off and be a huge threat towards the Fennec and the Joker. Looks like Zenial is still there. Lumbar, great disengage onto the Zenial, but they will not give up the chase. In the end, takes down the Fennec.
Wow, very proactive for Clutch Guild. Again, if you're going to invest a person at the bot side of the map, you're leaving a huge... you're leaving the top side defenseless, as Dark Slayer is one of the most important buffs at this point of the game. It can definitely turn the tides of battle, and that's what you did. Zephys being spotted at the bot side of the map, knowing that you managed to get a pick onto the Fennec. Are we gonna see a steal here?
This is very risky for Clutch Guild. Calls in the Zenial and Chona with the Chaos Protection. Dark Slayer, where will it go to? Which team? Oh! Second down! Oh my god! WIL NE Era steals the Dark Slayer! And now they are trying to escape it here. Lumber with a great stun over that wall. The knockout will connect. They re-engage the fight and take down the Aryan. Right now, Alice is very low. Zeph is giving chase. This is a mistake that CG will get heavily punished for.
Oh, wow. And they got the best deal again because Fennec was split pushing at the bot side of the map. Now they can apply so much pressure in all 3 lanes.
Oh, what a comeback.
Oh my! No punish was online at all on the side of Clutch Guild while that was happening. And they've invested so much. A lot of their HP already chunked down while that was happening. And WIL NE Era took a chance. They know that they didn't win in terms of numbers already, as someone else was already split pushing, but they took the chance, they were rewarded for it. They get everything. Dark Slayer, Abyssal Dragon, a couple of turrets, and this is their moment. The gold lead has swung completely in favor of WIL NE Era, and they're doing a great job at this point.
You're doing an extraordinary task here, because when you're talking about the best of 5 series challengers, we're seeing that WIL NE Era is, they're not yet giving up here. They still want to force Clutch Guild to earn that championship, or maybe WIL NE Era will take that away and crush their spirit in our 4th game. This could be WIL NE Era maybe forcing what? A follow-up from Zephys to go and intercept the leap from Zenial. Forced to use the ultimate there to back away. Look at the CC lockdown from the Alice. Right now the members of WIL NE Era trying to force the mid lane here. The Joker survives. What a damage onto the Violet. What a dive that's happening right now for WIL NE Era.
Wow, LYL just wanted the kill there, dashed or rolled forward and just opened up a lot for WIL NE Era to collapse on to their very precious marksman on Clutch Guild. And at this point, their split pushing is just beautiful right now.
Oh my god, they went for the tower dive here because they know that the Violet is still down for the count. WIL NE Era, with the time given to them and the opportunity, they're trying their best to really demolish the praise of CG, trying to take away this game 4, forcing it a game 5. Lumber with a 3-man knockoff there to disengage the fight again with that. Oh my god, the Joker and the Lumber and the Joker with the overstab. He kinda got greedy there. Actually, really got greedy there.
He wanted the highlight reel, man. That's what happened. He just dashed right in and probably overestimated his damage too much. But again, the Violet was with the Alice, and so it's really hard to determine whether or not you could get the kill. But at the same time, it's still WIL NE Era's win, as they've gotten the bot tier 3 turret. But again, this is anybody's game at this point, because I still believe that as long as you manage to protect the Violet, you can still win. Although you may be overwhelmed with damage because that's a double marksman comp, you do have Miggy and Bence as well on the Joker and the Fennec, so it might be a little bit tricky when it comes to 5v5 fights. But again, I said that Irie is a huge threat against these squishy backline damage dealers for the side of WIL NE Era. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to play around this. I mean, WIL NE Era does have the gold lead, but again, it's swinging, it's slowly dwindling already, the lead. So they might play around this top side at this point.
Yes, they're trying to eye out this Sentinel. They want to sustain in the fights, trying to out-sustain the fight for WIL NE Era. CG, they're doing everything they can here to try and take away the game they've lost control of, because this is going to be a very tense game for both teams. If ever WIL NE Era takes this game away, this can potentially crush CG Spirit.
And that was a potential collapse there onto the Alice and the Violet. A lot of members are quite far away, but we'll see XTG already defending this bot side of the map. 2 members invested as they are going to rotate towards the top side this time around. It's a very calculated approach, but it's a safe approach, and I like it.
They're very careful because they're so close to force that sweet game 5 and to really give the pain, really force CG, drag them to the 5th game and test their spirits. Because right now for WIL NE Era in high morale, they're trying to push away the waves here. The core is exposed and they are just letting the waves crash into the base and going for the pickoff here onto the Zenial, overstepping the base here. But WIL NE Era, they have to be very careful. Zephyrus for the backline goes and dives in deep in the middle of the fight. He's immediately chunked out to 1/4 health, does make it out alive here. That's going to be a disengage from CG with the Alice, with the shield. They managed to survive for now, but a Joker in the mid lane trying to push out the waves here. That's going to be a very close call for both teams. What a call, what a call.
Exactly. I feel that's very ballsy of them to. You can see the trust of WIL NE Era in each other on how to, okay, stall a bit. Maybe Zephyrus will go in from the backside. Even though you saw him how chunked he was already, he still managed to survive that. And while everything was happening, they're just split pushing. And eventually, maybe top tier 3 will fall as the Dark Slayer will be the hot, juicy target at this point of the match. It's a 17-minute match so far, and it's pretty close if you ask me. It's still anybody's game. In terms of scaling, I still feel like WIL NE Era has it because they do have the double marksman, but at the same time,
And they have a lot of heroes that can go for the pickup. Jinna in the middle, trying to deal the damage. A lot of members of WIL NE Era chunked out. Zenial goes in for the dive. They're trying to take down the Fennec. That's going to be XTD and 611 going in onto the Fennec. Goes in for the lockup there. That's going to be the Rubik's again taken down by that Zenial, doing a lot of damage with Alice. With the stun will connect and overstepping there. Gets the shield, gets the boost, gets the stun again onto the Zephyrus. That's going to be the lock in down from the Zephyrus. What a pickup again from WIL NE Era.
Indeed, it's a very tough 5v5 match every time because even though you want to focus yourself on destroying the Fennec, there's still the option of the Joker dealing so much damage. So it's about splitting your resources. They might.
Oh my god, if they lose 6-1-1 at this point, they just got aced for just 2 seconds there. Zenial is back up there from the Resurrect, and that would be enough time. Maybe he will survive. Oh, close call there.
Whoa.
What a very close call. All the members of Clutch Guild will be responding soon with 10 seconds left on Alice. I gotta say, at this point, the lead they establish doesn't even matter. It's more on how well they scale to the late game. How well can they execute those objective controls and contest that Dark Slayer.
Exactly. Look at them now. They're already gathered up and ready here at the Dark Slayer buff, knowing the fact that whoever may get the Dark Slayer buff in one full sweep
change everything.
Exactly. And it's just a matter of time before we might see a fight soon. But at this point, Zenial doing the split push. If they want to start a fight now, they should, as they're trying to zone them away out of the Dark Slayer area.
Oh boy. This is going to be very interesting and exciting for our challengers and for WIL NE Era, because they have to control. They took down the second Dark Slayer, and for Clutch Guild, they have yet to take any Dark Slayer for themselves here. And now, with a double marksman comp, this is going to be a very dire situation for Clutch Guild.
Okay, the question is now, Joker just tries to go down and maybe push and shove the wave, and then they're gonna delay here for CG, for Clutch Guild.
Oh man, they're just grouping up here. They don't want to be picked up by any member, especially they have to be very careful with the Fennec and the Zephyrus. Looks like the Zephyrus could not engage over that wall. That was really Ari locking down the Fennec and over the wall. Rubik's but enough time for the Ari to take down the Fennec. And now CG in control. No casualties. Take down the 2 members of WIL New Era despite them having the Dark Slayer bomb. It's now a chase happening here, forcing out the flicker from the Joker.
That was a very...
What a hissy bit by Black to get that slow. But in the end, what a damage being dealt by the Viral here. Gets the crit. The tower is the focus for CG. This is a very close game. What's going to happen to WIL New Era? 18 seconds left on Fennec. 20 seconds left on Zephyrus. They're not wasting time despite having a Dark Slayer.
Ooh.
Irie, what a very risky engage. Manages to lure him in. What an engage coming from CG. Immediately gets punished there. They get taken down. Gina is nowhere to be found. And Chongna with the execute takes down Ben. Oh my, checks down XDD. And now the tables have turned. They are the ones chasing down CG.
Oh, they got
Very
greedy.
impatient.
Because they could potentially have ended it there, but because of their over-aggression and wanting to take another pick so that maybe someone's going to be back online, but this is going to be another last defense. Will New Era make the same mistake as Clutch Kill? There's 20 seconds on the clock for XDD to come back online. 12 seconds onto Ben. Are they going to make it?
I hope they do, because this is going to be Clutch Kill fighting for their finals title. The core! It will be the focus here, but WIL New Era will go in for that time. Fennec and the Joker focusing the core. Gina comes back from the fountain. He will go with the Nirvana focusing onto the Joker. In the end, the core is taken down.
Oh, wow. Crucial mistakes happening at a very crucial time where you will almost get that national finals win. But we are at a game 5. WIL New Era is doing amazingly well in this game. In the series.
What a game 4 it was. Right now, WIL New Era with the victory from game 4 will force the 5th game of the best of 5 series. Congratulations to WIL New Era for winning the 4th game. Now, this will be CG on the wall here on the backside, because from the momentum they had in the first 2 games, it's gone. The momentum is in the side for WIL New Era. Now, we're potentially reverse sweeping CG.
I'm just mind blown at the moment, because this is Clutch Guild has a very incredible story behind them. Narrative is great. They're the most they're like the strongest team in the Philippines right now. But watching WIL New Era play around CG and managing to out macro, out rotate, and just even the draft is really good at this point, and it's just impressive to watch them.
Look at the kill score, Rigo. It's very equal, but the gold lead was in favor for WIL New Era. They got majority of the Dark Slayers. And in the end, I think the challengers will be treated to one of the coveted Game 5 in our Best of 5 series here, where everything comes into test here.
I know. You could see the weaknesses already from Clutch Guild. They get impatient. They're sometimes they wouldn't their objective trading at times would maybe prioritize more on winning the fights rather than winning the objectives at times, knowing if they're 100% sure that they will outnumber an opponent. And you can see that WIL New Era has been taking advantage of that thinking, especially during the early phases of the game where they'll lock in the Seniel and then they'll just leave the top side of the map and they'll just disengage, get what they need, and not give you any kills, which would waste the Seniel rotate or the Seniel ult. And I feel like I wonder what Clutch Guild is going to do. Are they going to just stay the same as the Seniel composition, or are they going to fall back into, okay, let's try the Lindis again, let's try the Tel'Anis again, or maybe Mina again? So I'm just excited for game number 5.
And we'll see the game number 5 after the short break. We have been Shoutcasters. My name is Volker. With me was Riku. We will now move on to our 5th game of the finals of the Valor Cup after the short break. Oh, and we're back to our 5th game, the last game of the Best of 5 series here. The finals of the Valor Cup. My name is Vulcan. With me is Rico. Your shotcasters entering the last game where I gotta say, WIL New Era, what an astounding comeback here into our Best of 5 series.
Yeah, they did so well. It's like every game they continue to add more strategies as they learn what are the numerous weaknesses that Clutch Guild has on the table. And so far what we've seen, do not give them the early game. Try to prolong it as much as you can, as Clutch Guild tends to make these really antsy plays, which we have seen during game number 4, where they almost had that win for themselves, but they dove in too deep and had to suffer.
That is the consequences you're going to face here when you are subjected to the Best of 5 series, because like I said, mentality, endurance, and stamina all come into test here. But challengers, we will now move on to the last game of the Best of 5 series, the finals of the Valor Cup. Who will take away the championship? Will it be Clutch Guild or will it be WIL New Era?
It's so interesting to see that Senial is actually being banned by Clutch Guild. I have never seen WIL New Era. I think they've played a Senial before, but at the same time, it's not really one of their priorities, as you do have blue you're on blue side, you do have first pick, but it seems that the dynamics is going to change. We're not going to be seeing a Senial this time around. Alice, of course, is still open, although I'm not quite sure how much value that gives, but at the same time, this opens up 3 marksmen, 2 marksmen. Violet could be prioritized in the second rotation. That depends on Clutch Guild, but we'll see.
I'm very curious because for CG, they will be sticking towards the Violet again, but for WIL New Era, they have played this Joker for the 3rd time, and that Joker in all those 2 games have won them that reverse sweep comeback here into the Best of 5. So, Rico, I think it's time to talk about the players entering this Best of 5. I wonder what CG is feeling right now. I wonder if they are ready to go back to this last game. Are they in the highest spirits? Are they in the right mentality entering a potential reverse sweep by WIL New Era?
We'll have to see about the draft. So far, the one thing that has been working is a double marksman comp. Slims is open, yes, Fennec is open, but maybe they will fall back to the Slims, mainly because it has more pick potential rather than the Fennec pick. Fennec pick, your ult will provide so much zone, but at the same time, there's so much value you could get just by landing those spears that you could just jump onto them and burst someone down.
And now, looks like everything has been locked in. We will now move on to our 5th game, the last game of the finals for the Valor Cup. For the Clutch Guild, I wonder if they can bounce back here, because at this point, WIL New Era, they have built up the morale and the momentum coming back from our 3rd game and 4th. Now at match point for both teams. Reverse sweep is a very big deal for CG. That would hurt them a lot if they let that happen.
Yeah, and at this point, WIL New Era, just as you mentioned, momentum is very important, but at the same time, we'll see if Clutch Guild could get a reset on their heads entering into this, finals match. It's very crucial at this point, and it seems that they're falling back into this. We're gonna try out this single marksman comp, just falling towards the Violet, try to protect her as much as we can, and WIL New Era is gonna just do the same thing.
Let's see if the adaptation will come into play here. This is the battlefield where everything comes into play. Execution. Your mistakes will really be your downfall if you are not very careful. And for Clutch Guild, they need to have control over their passion and emotions, because if they let that loose, they can make some mistakes and they may just regret it. Oh, they have the element of surprise here. Looks like they will be going for a choke. The blue side trying to deny the Sage, but we're now seeing, oh my god, a 4-man stun coming from that Alice, forcing out CG to back away, then re-engage with the Author. Focusing on to the Zephys. That'll be a lot of damage done by the Jenna, will force Clutch Guild to back off.
One of the primary things that you have to consider when you do invades is your level 1 strong? Do we have the necessary CC to make a pick? Can we, or do we have the mobility to get away afterwards? And obviously, Clutch Guild had that in mind and very confident because they know that they do have the Alice, they do have the AoE stun, and they can immediately just try to back away and respect if ever they do get a little, it gets a little bit too sticky, and they're rewarded for that. Not only did they, you know, probably burned a couple of talents in the side of WIL NE Era, they also managed to steal that might buff at the top side of the map coming from the Irie.
Yes, they have to be very careful because we all know that Clutch Guild, they're very efficient at taking away your resources. That will be their point where they can try and bottleneck your growth and try to force you to fall back. But for WIL NE Era, they won't have that. They know from the 4 games they played with Clutch Guild, they know what to do.
But without the Senial mindset for Clutch Guild, it just means that they might not be able to try to do this, take advantage of the split push, Senial leaving the lane. So it's more like will Zephys, or rather will the Irie leave the lane just so that they could put more resources at the bot side of the map when Abyssal Dragon is decided to be tackled with later on into the game. And that's, I feel like that's one of the huge factors that led through WIL NE Era winning the last 2 matches that we've seen so far. And at this point, CG's early game is really strong, and this really fits their playstyle well. Again, we've mentioned the 1-3-1 rotations coming from Clutch Guild whenever this early game happens. So Alice, Violet, and Chognar is a very good pair.
And now, will that pair help the team to try and contest this Abyssal Dragon? Because they're trying to see another steal maybe coming from the Joker again. But the Arthur is kind of tired of that, trying to steal. Oh, that's a close call. Very close call for the Joker. The Arthur tried his best to just let that Joker deny that steal. In the end, it'll be Clutch Guild, tired of the steal, will secure that Abyssal Dragon.
That was very close though, although
very clutch.
Let's see. Clutch Guild just wanted to spot out the top side of the map. And again, we saw that looks like Clutch Guild has the same mindset whenever they have that Senial. Irie always prepared to walk down first, Zephys not leaving lane, and that could potentially be something that they could take advantage of whenever they make those plays. But again, they will lose the Abyssal Dragon time and time again if they don't try to out-rotate that sort of strategy.
At this point, Riku, I gotta say for Clutch Guild, at least we're seeing them knowing their mistakes. I think they're more composed right now, more calculated. We can see it right now with this pickup in the top side. They are now composed. They are now the ones pushing back WIL NE Era. They got the first kill. The Arthur going in with a slow, and the Chognar to follow things up on to this Jaina Lombard, trying to help the Jaina escape. Succeeds.
Very well played by Clutch Guild. So proactive, not leaving room for WIL NE Era to try and respond and maybe do a counter rotation. It's not happening, and bot side wasn't even able to be pushed because they make sure that the waves are either shoved in their favor or meeting at the middle. They're making sure that it's frozen there, and that's the reason why after they take an objective, Arthur just rotates back down, meaning that Joker will not be able to maximize that one less person in the bot side of the map.
Ooh, that Sage Bomb steal by the Chognar. Great job there, and I gotta say, when it comes to resource steals, leave it to CG. In the blue side, the Chognar will be taking the Sage Bomb, and right now on the red side, we're seeing Ari with a slick movements there in the red side, trying to take away more from WIL NE Era. This is the Chognar going in strong, going in hot, with the Alice backing it up onto the Zenith. Hissy fit for the slow, and the lockdown onto the Zephys, tries to get away, succeeds with the ultimate.
This is classic Clutch Guild. This is the very aggressive early game. We're going to steal all your buffs all year round in this game, and it's very familiar. This is obviously the game that Clutch Guild is comfy at doing, and it's working wonders for them. As WIL NE Era, if they lose the early game, and if Clutch Guild manage to snowball this game, it's hard for them to reach their spikes where we're a double marksman comp. We're just going to steamroll over you later on, and it's Clutch Guild just not giving that same room momentum from the previous matches that Will Ne was able to take advantage of.
Look at that Slims going in after the leap to the brush. Does not expect the Arthur to wait him out. So, right now, challengers, watch out for the steal. It can happen again. Maybe second time's the charm for the Joker. Right now, we're seeing the map. Look at that. The Joker is making his way in. Aha! But kind of scared. They are zoning them out. Now, this will be an Abyssal Dragon secured by CG. Will not let the steal happen. And here comes Lombard. Will it disengage? And Jogner goes in hot. Goes into for the dive with Ari going in for the kill.
Wow, look at them. Chogner and Alice are best buddies at that point. And in that choke point in the jungle side near the Sage buff, it was just very crucial for them to just zone away and deny any potential steals, which, you know, WIL NE Era is known for, and it worked out so well in their favor. Again, that's the second Abyssal Dragon on their side, and there's no objective trades whatsoever on WIL NE Era so far. Even topside, you know, getting that topside turret was very detrimental to make their strategy work at this point, because Zephys is always forced to shove that lane just to make sure that it's not going to get split push later on. And with that said, that just gives so much space for Irie. You know, I'm not a Sentinel, it's fine. I'm going to walk back to the lane because the lane is going to be pushing in our favor.
Yes, and right now CG trying to make things work in their favor with the bot lane down for the count. That will be the engage onto WIL NE Era. CG trying to peel in for that damage. Look at the Violet dishing out the damage. And there, look at that. We're seeing a lot of engages by CG. Now they're the ones pushing them in. They have completely switched off here. I mean, a complete turnaround their playstyle now, more composed. I think they've woken up a bit.
Exactly. We did mention before the game started that it's so important to shut down Clutch Guild's early game, because once they get that early game for themselves, it's just complete control. And this is exactly that instance that they're showing at this point. They're doing so well, they're making the correct plays. Zeph is not able to respond to the split push.
Ooh, maximum there. Maximum range stun onto the Violet, but no follow-up will happen. Jinna forced to use that Nirvana. So, right now we're seeing all the towers being demolished by CG. 6 towers down for the count. Now that's for the last tier 3 turret. With what happens here can really change the outcome of our last game. Look at the damage coming from the Violet. The core is exposed right now, but Arthur going in hot, going into the deep base. Now backing off from the core. Kill score is 7-1. CG with this incredible push in the base. They are trying to end the game as fast as they can, because they have a strong early. Oh, Joknar with the protection there, going in for the dive to the base. This is very important for WIL NE Era. Can they defend this? Because we're seeing the Joker live on the base. The core is exposed. We may have a winner here. They're focusing onto the core, but now that's going to be their... Oh, Jinna trying his best here. And I gotta say, CG with a great switch around, with a turnaround, denies that reverse sweep, taking the championship of the Valor Cup.
That was an incredible match from Clutch Guild. After losing 2 times at that series, it was one of those things that we need to take a reset, and it worked out so well. And this playstyle of theirs was the familiar Clutch Guild that we've been seeing from the other tournaments, where they're just gonna invade your jungle non-stop, get Abyssal Dragon control, get that, you know, the objectives all over the map, and just not allow you to make counter plays at all. And they did. It worked so well. 604 onto 611. That is amazing.
And very amazing, because this is actually a surprise how well that CG was able to bounce back, shake things off. What a great early game they had. And this is the result with a kill score 11-2. WIL NE Era, still, they have to be proud. They made it this far, forcing a team like Clutch Guild into a game 5. It's strong, but in the end, I gotta say, for a representative in the Philippines, I'm proud to say that for Clutch Guild, congratulations, you will be moving on to the grand finals in the international scene.
Yeah, and it seems that it was just a very tough best of 5 series for them, but they looked incredibly strong during the the last fight that we witnessed. And it seems that whatever happened during game number 3 and 4 seem to have fixed. They have managed to fix it during the end.
More like they did fix it, but not just fixing it is good enough for CG. They've improved.
Yes.
They really came back in our game 5, and I think this will conclude the Valor Cup. I gotta say, this has been a great ride here from the quarterfinals to the semis and the finals. Congratulations again to Clutch Guild for taking away the championship, and I would say for WIL NE era, still what a great run being the first runner-up. But this is me, Volkan, and joining with me was Rico. We will be signing off, but after the short break, we'll have an interview with the winning team. So till then, challengers, thank you so much for watching the Valor Cup. Let's hear it from Clutch Guild after the short break.